Hey, welcome back to another shitty video. Today, I'm joined with Sarah Cat. And basically, we just filmed a video for her channel and about her paranormal experiences. And so, my video here is going to be about my paranormal experiences. So we both are going to do 2 stories. So she has 2 stories on her channel and I'm going to have 2 on mine. And I'm there for moral support on her channel and she's here for moral support on my channel.
I won't let them take you.
Thanks, Sarah. Naked Protection Squad.
Naked Protection Squad.
Oh my god, we all know
MPS.
Almost like MP3, but that's copyrighted, so I can't take that.
Wait. What, isn't there something else like periods are in...
PMS. Almost like
Protect Megan Squad.
Protect my period squad. Okay, so we're just gonna get right into this. We're gonna kick it off, and I just want to start off by saying that I think there has been something following me my whole life since I was a baby, brought home from the hospital. This is gonna be wild, so get ready for some scary stories. When I was probably only a couple months old, this is a story that my parents told me, actually. Basically, just to like preface this, my mom has always said that she believes babies are sort of like a portal into like the other side because they're a new person that's born, which means that they need a soul in their body. Like, because everybody has a soul, so you must get that soul at birth or shortly after. So she believes that babies are sort of a portal because like souls are sort of coming in and out because something has to claim that person, like for there to be a human, like a soul has to claim a baby. And so basically I was very, very young. I had like just been brought home from the hospital. I was maybe only like a month old, and my parents had me in my crib and they had just put me down to go to sleep. And I've always been like a really heavy sleeper. Once I like fall asleep, I don't wake up at all. Like, I'll sleep through anything. And all of a sudden, and like also this was before baby monitors had screens on them, so it wasn't like they could see me sleeping or anything. But they had the baby monitor on, and all of a sudden I just started screaming. Like, there's and like if you've ever been around like newborn babies, you know that they don't really scream loudly. They kind of have this like soft little like quaky wailing sound. Yeah, like that. But I just started like screaming like bloody murder, like baby screaming, like at the top of my lungs. And both of my parents rush in and they're like standing over my crib. And like, I think usually like when they would come into my room, like when I was upset and crying, as soon as I saw them, I would kind of calm down. Like, I might still cry, but I wasn't so upset. But this time, like, my eyes were just like screwed shut and I was screaming. And I just sounded like, my parents both tell me that I just sounded so afraid, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And they just sort of looked at each other and they were like, this makes no sense, like, what's going on? And so as I got a little bit older, like I think maybe I was around like 6 or 7 months old, I had this like toy piano where it had these huge keys on it. There was like 5 piano keys and they were all different colors. And I also had this little turtle that had buttons on it, and if you press the buttons, they would like play music. And so basically my grandfather on my dad's side had passed away before I was born, so he had never met me. And he was a really, really musical person. And so obviously when I was little, I would like stand, because I was just starting to stand and stuff, and I would hit the piano keys and like they would play music and whatever. But I would just be sitting next to the piano or like next to the turtle, and they would just start playing music out of nowhere. And so then my parents would change the batteries, thinking like, oh yeah, the batteries need to be changed because it's just like, you know, low battery, whatever. And so, you know, like they changed the batteries, it would be fine. And then it would happen again. And so, and it just kept happening. Like, they were replacing the batteries and it would just play on its own. And so after a while, they just kind of got fed up and like really annoyed with it. And they were like, she's not gonna notice if it doesn't light up and if it doesn't play any music. Like, she'll just hit the keys and she'll be fine. She doesn't care. She's freaking 6 months old, like, whatever. And so they take the batteries out of both the piano and also the turtle, because the turtle was doing the same thing. And so the batteries are out. These, like, don't plug into the wall. They run strictly on battery power. And they start playing and lighting up anyway. And I'm just sitting right there. And, like, this, like, my parents would always try and get this on video, but they never could, because it would just happen, like, they didn't have, like, their little home, like, video camera or whatever, like, or, like, on them, and so they couldn't catch this on video. But they say, like, they tell me that, like, I would look over, and then it would start to play, and then I would, like, laugh, and I liked it, because it was, like, something was playing for me.
Aww.
And so that's, like, kind of a good story, because, like, my dad, like, thinks that it was his father, like, playing music for me when I was little, because he never got the chance to meet me when I was born. So it was, like, him, like, having his, like, finished business, like, on earth, like, seeing his son have a family and stuff. And so that's, like, a good thing, right? And so I believe, like, that I have, like, good spirits that follow me around, but also going back to, like, when I was first born and I was so afraid of something that was by my crib, I think that stayed with me, like, throughout my life as well. And so, like, moving on, I think this was about, like, 2 years ago. I was around, like, I think I was, like, 14. I had just turned 14. And literally, this is so disturbing, like, actually. So, basically, I have lived in New Mexico for a large portion of my life, and where I lived, I didn't live in a big city. I lived in a really, really small town.
In the desert.
Yeah, in the middle of the freaking desert. And there's a lot of dysfunctional people there, and so there's just a lot of dark energy surrounding that area. And because I lived in a desert, it said, like, I think it's even talked about in the Bible, possibly somewhere, where it just says, like, the lack of water. Like, because water is life, and so when there's a lack of that, it just opens up, like, for dark energy to come through and things like that. And so I was, like, having a really hard time emotionally, and I always had this feeling in this house, because I also grew up in this house too. And, like, my parents would have these weird paranormal experiences. Like, my mom was lifted out of her bed once, and she woke up in the middle of the air, and, like, she was dropped back down on the bed. Like, there was a lot of weird things in that house. And so when I was younger, I didn't really have, like, bad paranormal experiences or anything, because I was also in a different room. And when I got older, I wanted, like, a white bedroom because it was, like, trendy. And so I switched bedrooms, and I painted the other bedroom white, also because the other bedroom was, like, a little bigger, and I was like, yeah, this is so great. So I moved into this room and everything, and this room was like the first part of the house. It's like the house is like 2 trailers shoved together. Like, one half was stick built and the other half was a mobile home. So, like, the front porch was here, but, like, my bedroom was right next to it. It was just, like, in a different part of the house. Like, on the inside there was a hallway separating it, but from the outside it was, like, the first thing, like, part of the house that was exposed to the yard. And so that means that there was no other rooms surrounding my bedroom. And so I started to feel like there was something in my room, and it was really weird, and I had a lot of, like, paranormal experiences in that room. But one in particular, I was, like, so, like, shook by this specific experience for such a long time. And, like, I still don't know what it was. Like, I don't know if it was actually, like, a demon, or if it was, like, I was having sleep paralysis. But, like, it's important to know that, like, I don't have a history of, like, night terrors or, like, sleep paralysis or anything. Like, I have a shitty sleep schedule, that's for sure, but, like, it's not because of, like, insomnia or anything. Like, I've never had actual problems sleeping. And so it was the middle of the night. It was pitch black in my room, and in that house I always slept with my door open because, like, I have dogs, and like sometimes they'll just sleep in my room, and they like to come into my room, but usually they'll sleep like right outside my room, right in front of my door. And also when it's cold in the winter, my dad will have like a wood stove on, and so it just having my door open helps like circulate heat through the house. So I always had my door open, and so there was a small little bit of light coming through because like my parents would always leave a light on in the kitchen, just if anybody needed water or like had to go to the bathroom or something in the middle of the night. And I was sleeping, so basically like my bed, I was sleeping on my right side, and so I was facing out into my room towards the open door. And so I'm just sleeping, and then oh, I forgot how this started. I literally just came back to me as I'm telling this story, and it's even worse. So I felt someone like, oh, this is so gross. Oh my God. Okay, so I felt someone. So I was sleeping like this. I had my hand out in front of me, and I had my other hand on like my side of my face on my pillow. And so my hand was out like this, and I felt someone my hand was open like this because I was sleeping, and I felt somebody put their hand in my fingers like this, and then with their other hand start to rub my arm like up and down like this. And so
it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was my mom just like coming in to like check on me while I was sleeping or something, because I had told her that I was having like weird dreams and then like nightmares, and like that I thought that there was a ghost in my room. And so because like sometimes she would come into my room just to check to see if I was asleep, because like I had school the next morning, yeah, if I was dead or something, who knows. And so at first, when like the first couple seconds this was going on, I thought it was my mom. And then as I'm starting to wake up, but I still have my eyes closed, I was like, oh my God, this is not my mom, because she would not do this. Like, I was like, this is not my mother. And so while this is still going on, I still had my eyes closed. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? I was so confused. I was so disoriented because I was just waking up from a really deep sleep, which again is really important to remember that I sleep through the night. Like I'm such a deep sleeper. But this woke me up out of a deep like REM sleep. And so I still have my eyes closed, and it's like still going on. And then all of a sudden it moves up from my arm and it starts to stroke my face. And I'm like, what? I was like, okay, this definitely isn't my mom. Like, and it just, I was like, that's not my mom. I was like, this definitely isn't my mom. And I was like, okay, so what the fuck is this?
We've already established that, Megan.
And so,
it's not your mom.
And the reason why I also didn't think it would be like my dad or something is because my mom has really cold hands all the time because she's just always cold. But my dad's hands are always warm. And this hand on my face, on my arm, holding my other hand, felt so cold. It literally felt like I was holding a fucking ice cube. And I was like, interesting. And so it's something starts like stroking the side of my face, and it's this side of my face. And I was like, this is really weird. And at this point I still hadn't opened my eyes because I still kind of didn't really know what was going on. And then all of a sudden I opened my eyes at this point because I was like, you need to see what the hell is going on. And so I opened my eyes, and there's this thing standing next to my bed, and I'll try and describe it as like best as I possibly can because it was a couple years ago, and it's like really hard to describe. But it was like kind of short, and it had like this gray skin, and it was like really disgusting.
Ancient aliens.
Yeah. Aliens. Like, and it had these long, like, talon, like, hand nails. I don't know.
Death Note is like the guy.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. He had these long, like, nails, except, like, Death Note looks like metal, kind of.
Yeah.
But his were just, like, gross nails.
Ew.
It was disgusting.
They were, like, people nails?
Yeah, like, people nails. And it was holding my hand and touching my face.
Aw, it just wants...
It just wants love! And then I, like, slowly, like, pan up, and I'm looking at its face, and it starts to smile. And I was like, what the fuck? And it had these eyes that were all white with one tiny black pupil, like, in the middle.
Oh
so
my god, my
eyes. But it had no iris, like, no color. Like, it was all white, and then just, like, the pupil. That's it. No color.
I look like a floating head right now.
Me. Hey. Hey, what's up, you guys? It's me.
Wait. Let me try to get my arms completely out.
This is my friend, Decapitated Sarah. Wait, what's that? Nearly Headless Nick from Harry Potter.
I'm nearly headless Sarah. No, I'm completely headless Sarah.
Yes. Completely bodiless Sarah.
True.
But anyway, so it had these really long, jagged teeth that were, like, sharp, like this long. Like, they were about this long, and they were fangs, and there was, like, rows of them. It was really disturbing. And they were dripping with this weird substance that sort of looked like spit, but also didn't really look like spit. Ectoplasm! And, whoa, I just choked. Anyway, that's fine. And it's just smiling at me. And I noticed that it had these weird... It literally had horns, like, on its head. So it was basically Satan.
A demon.
Yeah. And then I'm laying there. And so I'm laying on my bed. And I was face to face with it. So it was, like, pretty short. But its face was right in front of mine. And as I'm staring at it, in complete confusion, it slowly starts to move forward.
As it's smiling?
Yeah, as it's smiling. And it opens its mouth. And I'm still laying on my side like this. And it sinks its teeth into my cheek.
As it's smiling?
It, like, smiled, and then it opened its mouth.
Ooh.
And then it just, like, ripped down my mouth. Like, my mouth. What the fuck? Then I made out with it. It bit my cheek. And then that was when I, like, finally snapped out because it hurt so much. It was like this white, hot pain. It was literally as if it actually bit my face. And I stood up and I, like, freaked out. And then it was just standing there. And then I, like, covered my eyes. And then I opened them. And it was gone.
You never mentioned that part.
Yeah. And so then, I don't really remember what happened after that. I'm pretty sure I literally rolled over and went to sleep.
What is wrong with you?
I made sure, but like, this is, like, the lasting effect that has had on me is that I can no longer sleep with my pillow on top of my arm with my hand out, because every time I do that, I feel it hold my hand. And I can't sleep. This hand always has to be covered now. I cannot sleep like that anymore. And it was so comfortable. What the fuck?
I do that.
So comfortable. And I never sleep like that anymore. Now, the next day when I woke up, I was like, damn, that was really scary. And so I go into the bathroom, morning routine, take a freaking pee. Then I come to the mirror and I see on my face that I have these long red scratch marks across my cheek. And I was like, what the fuck? And so that was when I realized that it wasn't a nightmare that I had and that it was real, because it was on my face. And I did not scratch myself because only recently, like this past year, did I start like growing my nails out because I just like the look of longer nails now. But during that time, I always had my nails cut like this short. There's literally no nail there. I have stubs for fingers. Like, literally, I couldn't have scratched, like, what would I have done? Rubbed my face? Yeah, that just sort of cemented that it was a real experience. And, yeah, that was probably the most terrifying paranormal demon experience I've ever had.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Leave a comment letting me know if you like the video. Yeah. That's it.
Why is this becoming our thing?
Whammin'.
Wait. W for
Whammin'.
W for
winners.
Weirdos. Wild one. Bye.
Bye. Subscribe for 2 new shitty videos every week.